Hi everyone, welcome back or welcome to Laurie's little studio. Today I am going to be zipping up 3 of these dresses that you can get at JoAnn Fabric. This is off the bolt fabric that has been smocked. It's stretchy like we used to have back when I was a teenager. And it was so much fun. They come in 1 yard cuts. It's off the bolt though, so I think the minimum is 1 yard. Unfortunately, we didn't ask, and I probably should have, because the 2 individuals that I'm stitching these for are not a full yard around. So I'm going to have little snippets of this fabric left, and if I had asked, I would have said, is it possible to buy by the inch? It did have in big block letters on the end of the bolt, by the yard. So I'm assuming, no, you can't say, can I have 22 inches or whatever. So just to kind of keep it simple, I decided I wouldn't ask. So this is full length to the floor, and you can cut the length wherever you want to cut the length. This one we're going to leave all the way ankle length, so we're going to be hemming up, let's see, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4.5 inches from the bottom. I've got that pinned right there. They're so easy to make. The other ones I'm going to make one like mid-calf length, and the B fabric will be made as a top. So it will be from, say, here to about here. We have that marked as well with a pin. So I'm going to start with this one. And there's a couple of things, even though it is simple, you do want to kind of keep your eye on a couple of things. I have this turned to the right side, and I need to turn it inside out. So I've got my pins already in place, and I can kind of see that I've gathered up approximately 3 of these pleats as I work my way down. So you can kind of count, there's maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, just about that much. This is the line at the beginning of the pin that I need to be stitching down. You want to make sure that this side is absolutely even with this side, otherwise you're going to have a situation that looks unprofessional. You don't want that right there. So if she were here, I would measure each one of these and make sure that it fit properly and she liked the way it felt. You want to make sure that if they're moving, you know, walking or jumping or whatever, this doesn't fall down. You want to make sure your pins are all the way through. Okay. So what I plan to do as far as going all the way down the front is I'm just going to angle it out with a slow slope, just for the fullness of the dress on this one. The other one doesn't want that fullness, so my instructions were to just stitch it straight, which is what I plan to do. I don't want to mark it on the outside, I want to mark this on the inside. I think as far as the fit goes, you just want to make sure that it's nice and snug. I just went ahead and made just a little clip in the top so that I could see through the ruffles where to start. So I will say it's really nice that the top edge on this is finished. It makes that step unnecessary, so you're just, I don't know, it's just a wonderful little summer outfit that you can just whip up with one seam and a hem. How cool is that? Alright, so I've got my little cut right here in my line, and I'm just going to cut. If I use a 1/2 inch seam allowance, I can line up right, see where my pin is right there. Let's see, make sure they're all, that's the thing, you gotta watch out for that seam allowance. I literally almost forgot that. I'm going to add a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Let's get this, make sure that this is lined up absolutely perfectly straight on, like that. We want both sides perfectly even or it will just look awful. And I'm going to use my clips. Probably use a lot of these. There's no point in not doing that. And I will most likely do an overlock stitch on George, my Bernina 1080, over this edge once I get it stitched. I'm trying to decide the best way to finish it. Alright, so I'm going to turn on George, and I've already cleaned him off, and I put this back on this box back here that has all of my, not all of my additional feet, but the ones I use the most. It just pops back on. So we're good to go, and I'm going to pop it onto stitch, straight stitch for this first stitch here, down, all the way down, and then I'll come back and I'm going to do an overlock stitch, which on this machine is stitch number 13. Let me pop a picture up for you here, and you can use either 11, 12, or 13 to do that overlock stitch. I'm going to stitch with my needle down. Okay. So let's get this started, and the first thing I want to do is make sure this is lined up. So I'm not going to start here. I'm going to start down here and back up to just kind of make sure that I get that absolutely perfectly straight. Now I did move my needle over one click. I put my machine in reverse. Alright, let's turn it inside out and see if we've got any boo-boos. I'm looking for the seam. Blue flowers kind of come together, and you really can't tell that there is a seam right there, which is good. That's what you want. Alright, and then here it comes down, and it eventually just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and I guess I mean wider, so that there's more flow to this dress. but I do need to trim it because, as you can see, it starts out, this is over here is where the stitching line is, and so all this is seam allowance, but it just gets smaller and smaller as we go toward the bottom. But I do want to trim it out before I do an overlock. So we have to take care of that. I think I'm going to stitch this so that the raw edge of this is under. It'll just be a tiny little stitch right up here at the very top. And I'm just using my 0 foot for this. I'll also use the 0 foot for, I might use the 1. We'll see for the overlock. It just depends on the width. We're going to do the overlock. Let's see. This is foot number 1, and it does have a very different structure, so I guess I'll go ahead and use this. Alright, so the reason that I am going over these 2 feet today, the 0 foot and the number 1 foot, is because I've had a lot of questions lately about the Bernina 1080 Special, which is a vintage Bernina sewing machine. I bought mine new back in the early 2000s or late 19s, I think. Sounds so long ago. Oh my God. Anyway, this sewing machine has pre-programmed stitches. It has these 14 on this click and all the way up to the last 28 on, you just toggle over. So you got that. Plus you can switch these stitches around using these buttons as well. But as I said, I think I might be confusing you, but I said I've been getting a lot of questions about this machine. I think people are buying them because they are just a workhorse. They last and last. And, you know, you've got all these optional stitches that you can use using these optional feet. Like in this box alone, I have, oh my goodness, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 in there. 12, including this one. So I also have a box full of other feet that I use. The machine is very versatile, and if you can find one aftermarket and it's in good shape, I say go for it. But getting back to this, the 2 stitches that I'm using on this project are stitch number 1 and stitch 13. Stitch 13 requires foot number 1, and if you watch right here, when I push the 13th stitch button right over here, this will pop down to the number 1, meaning you need to switch over to your number 1 foot. There you go. And then if I push this button right here for the number 1 stitch, it'll go back up to 0. And that's what we have right there. Okay. Here we go. So now that we have done this overlock stitch, the last little bit is to hem, and we know we want to do a 4.5 inch hem. You might want to press on the other side to get that flat. I might do that before I hem it. And I'm not sure at this point I would think that the seam would go down the back, not the side. However, I don't know how she wants to wear it. So I need to find out if I'm putting straps on this way somewhere. I'll have to kind of look at maybe a bra to get where the sizing should go. Or if she wants it with the seam on the side, and I'll be doing it this way. So I'll have to check. But at this point, the straps can always be added. I mean, they could be added a year from now, quite frankly. And here's the whole part of the dress. I'll try to get a picture of it hanging up. I do have some velvet hangers, so that would be easy to put on there. I could even pin something somehow. But the next part, of course, is this hem. And if you didn't want to hem it, if you really wanted to go full 100% boho, the selvage is at the bottom, so you could just leave it just like this if you wanted. You could stitch some kind of trim along the bottom if you wanted to, instead of hemming it. So like if you're a tall person, or if you just want it really long, you could just add some lacy trim to the very bottom, which would be kind of cute. Before I hem, I'm going to wash. So there's that. Alright, next up, we're going to go with, I guess this one. And this one is, yeah, I had her try it on right, oh good. This is more of a rayon. It does not feel like cotton at all. Well, after 15 minutes of searching, unfortunately, I was not able to find any information about what's in this other than 100% cotton. This particular print did not appear in my search. And I've got to mark it and cut it and stitch it, and there's a hemline way up about, let's see here, how many inches is this from the selvage edge? I'm going to say it's 16 inches from the selvage. That's good to know. Let me write that down. I just realized if I wash that, well, I got 4.5, I know. I'm going to do 16, and I'm going to write that on my hand. This time I'm going to measure this way to cut off, because I ingeniously haha, had her try this on with the outside, inside out, so that I could mark on it. And so that makes it so much easier. Okay, and I can mark it with my pen because it's on the inside. Okay, so clearly I will have one line in one spot here on this that I need to cut. And so if this is where that line is, the other line is way over here. So one line is where my this thumb is, and the other line is where my this finger is. So I have to unpin this, because if I cut along this line, I've messed everything up. If I cut along this line, it will be way too small. So I'm just going to remove these pins and open it out, and then I will cut here and I will cut here, and then that gives me my 1/2 inch seam allowance. Both sides have been trimmed to the correct seam allowance, so this one all the way down and the other one all the way down. Now I'm going to go ahead and stitch it, but I won't hem it till after it has been washed. All right, I'm going to trim off some of these little whiskers you can see, but the two edges of the fabric have been basically zigzagged over, which will help prevent fraying on the inside of the dress. It's this one needs to be done and caught. Sometimes I will go back over it again. I've done that since my kids were little. But it's time for me to talk to my sister, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. When I come back, we're going to work on the bee dress. Alright guys, I have managed to get the studio sort of cleaned up. I mean, it is a huge improvement. And I have one more little dress, or actually this will be a top. So we will be cutting this one for the hem right up here. So here's the top part of it, and this is going to be the hem. So I'm going to have a great deal of leftover bee fabric that I can make something else out of. We'll just have to see what that's going to be. But at the moment, what that's going to be. Anyway, I'm really happy with the way things have come together in here. It's so much better. Let's say 2 inches all the way out to 4. Let's see what happens with this one. 2 inches. This one's got a little bit more stretch, so I can take off just a little bit more, I believe. These are my pattern weights off of that same Simplicity pattern that little doll shaped pin cushion came from. Same pattern for these as well. I think I might have modified these to have them tie rather than be stitched, because I did not want to have BBs up underneath the sewing machine needle. And so I thought, you know what, I'll just tie them, and then if I need to add or remove BBs over time, then that's easy enough. All right, I need my friction clicker pin. I've got one in blue. And I believe I'm going to trim it. All right, so I'm lining up right here, which is 1/4 of an inch, because this fabric is just a wee bit stretchier than this fabric. So I feel like if I cut this 1/4 inch, it'll be a total of 1/2 inch at the end of the cutting and stitching, instead of cutting it 1/2 inch, which gave it a whole inch. I think that'll work for this. So let me get this marked. So much easier. Look at that. Woo! I think it, no, it's over here. There we go. All right. So let's measure from the smocking to the pin. Okay, so I'm going to stitch down 12 inches. That gives me a hem on this side. I'm going to have to measure it while it's under the sewing machine. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right on 12. Okay. Alright, so I got the hemline marked using my blue chalk. I don't know if you can see, but the ironing board helped because I could just lay this out flat and measure from here, you know, from here down to here. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut on that line. Okay. Alright, let's see how much of this. It turns out when you cut it away from the smocking, you have 1, 2, almost 3 yards of fabric. So that is kind of cool. It's 3 yards, and let me see how many inches we have left. 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. So we have 33 inches of width and like maybe a fraction of an inch shy of 3 yards. So there's plenty of fabric to play with here. And it is surprisingly straight. So I won't have to make any adjustments if I'm going to use a pattern and make something. This is Jessica's fabric, so it'll be something for Jessica. I don't know. I honestly don't know, but there we go. All right, so now I can continue stitching right on down. She doesn't want it to be flared out, so I have to stitch. Just forget about the floof over here and just stitch straight down. Alright, good morning everyone. I am back, and this just came out of the washing machine, so I'm going to trim off some of these little whiskers. Alright, so if you want to see, I need a spot where I've got a good long right here. It kind of does a little scallopy edge. There's a lot of thread in there, which is nice. It'll keep it from unraveling during washing and wearing. It's now time to hem this one. So I've pressed it, and I'm just going to pop in a few pins to kind of help keep it folded properly. And I'll just be using a straight stitch to hem. It's done, it's hemmed. This is the way the hem looks right here. This is the hem on the inside. I think it's just perfect for a pretty summer dress. Alright, as far as this little bee top that we made, it Jessica tried it on, and she's decided that she just wants this hem as skinchy as possible. Skinchy means tiny, hardly there. So I'm trimming off whiskers as usual, and it's already been zigzagged, but what I plan to do is just simply roll it under with a straight stitch. So again, I'll start on a side seam, or no, there's only one seam. The seam right here is it. And I'm just going to roll it into the inside and stitch with a straight stitch. I could do it by hand, but with all I have going on right now, it'll be next summer before she can wear it. So at the rate we're going. We got the sod delivered for the front yard this morning, and that project is looming. So I wanted to get this done before all that begins. So this little top is done. All right, and next in line is this one. I believe I have a mark on the bottom for the hem. All right, so I have gone all the way around with that little tiny zigzag. I've got to cut a few of these little strings, but you can see, I think it looks pretty good. Excuse my hands, I've been working out in the yard too. Alright, so the next thing I need to do is trim off all the little whiskers and then fold this under and do a straight stitch hem. I do like the hem. I think it turned out, for this particular fabric, it turned out nice, but you can see there's a lot of blue. These were all mismarks here. You gotta measure with that measuring tape. Seriously. Let's see. I think you can see right there. Right there. It all has to come out. Happy Saturday. This is the blue dress that I think I mentioned a few days ago that I have not hemmed yet, and I'm going to go ahead and take care of that today. So it has been pressed at the hem mark, which I remember it being a very shallow hem. Keep in mind this dress is, I think, a little over a year old now. So I'm just going to finger press this back into shape in the few spots that it kind of needs it. But we decided that we were just going to do a zigzag over the raw edge, and then just fold it up. So it's going to be kind of like a lace tape hem. I'm just going to use white thread. This fabric is a Walmart. No, I take that back. This fabric is not Walmart. This fabric is JoAnn. JoAnn Fabric. Okay, I have my 0 foot on, but I can set my machine on a zigzag and then adjust the length and the width. Needle down. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just do the entire zigzag all the way around. Alright, we have gone all the way around. I'm going to put these little threads in my thread bag. There we go. And now I'm going to switch it to a straight stitch with default length and width. And starting at a seam, I'm just going to fold it back on the pressed down fold line and stitch. Okay, there we go. I think it turned out really cute. It's just your basic little hemmed dress. I will pop the pattern picture right here. I liked the neckline of this one. It has this little keyhole and then these cute little pockets that were pleated in the middle, like so, with a square instead of that typical round with this type of treatment. Usually it's a rounded, and this is a square, which I thought was really cute. And I love this fabric. My daughter chose it for herself. So, and then also it has ties off of the side that tie in the back if you wish. So, simple, cute little summer dress. So it's day 2, and as you see here, I have a new thing in front of me. And I'm going to have to take today to use these. I just got the package yesterday. There are 4 of them. They were $30 on Amazon. And I bought them to straighten up this room, which I can't describe to you how horrible it is. And I'm using the pink one. There is a blue, kind of a sky blue, and a teal. There's 2 teal, a sky blue, and the pink. And I chose this colorway because, you know. So the way these come together is, whoops. Cut that out. Okay, so the way that this comes to you is it's flat. And the option that I purchased was 4. So they're all folded up. This is how it arrived. Was this way or this way? These were this way. That's right. Okay, and then there was another one. I like everything about these. I like the size. Let's see, they are, I don't remember, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 inches across the front. They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 across the side, and they are okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and a quarter deep. So the capacity from the top down to the bottom. Now, each of these has the option to either be one whole bin from one side to the other, or you can split it in half using this little thingy. So as you can see, here's 2 of them, you know, not taking up a whole lot of space. You could put this on a shelf if you weren't really ready, or if you had too many or whatever. I can't imagine having too many of these. Seriously, I can't. But as easy as that was to take apart, it's just as easy to put them back together. So you open it out like so. And then I recommend that you go ahead and hold on to this little centerpiece right here that lifts up off of this. I found if it was pushed all the way down to the bottom, I couldn't pick this up, so it's just easier. Even if you're not going to use it, don't let it fall to the bottom until you're sure that you're not going to use it. so it fits in like this. And then there are Velcro tabs on both the front and the back. And then on the little piece that fits in, there are Velcro tabs here and here over on this side. Sorry about my hand, but right here and over on the other side. And then if you do get this pushed all the way down and you need to lift it up, there's a little tab that you can just lift right here that will allow you to pick it up off the bottom. And then because you have the option to use half of the little bin, you also have the option to only open one half. And there's a Velcro that will keep it, sorry about that, my clips are flying everywhere, that will keep it closed. Now I'm just going to say I watched a video on Instagram Reels about this product. It wasn't, I don't think it was this colorway, but it was this project, or it was this product. And the person doing the unboxing and review said, so you can close these to keep bugs out. Now, I'm sorry, but there's no way that this would not be accessible to bugs, but I don't have to worry about that in my current situation. My main reason for wanting this to have a lid, and I'm not making this up, is I want to be able to stack these on top of each other. I'm trying to figure out a way to put labels on here. I just came back in here after being out working in the yard, doing other projects, being in the house, doing some laundry, talking on the phone to my sister. Hours have gone by and my camera was left on. So that's going to be fun to edit. Okay guys, so what happened is I got involved in another project outside. I may have mentioned, I don't know, but we're working on a complete redo of our front yard. Not because we want to in the dead of summer, but because we have to. The thing that I wanted to say is I've been working on filling up the one of the teal boxes with craft items. I have like glue and ribbon and little flowers, dried flowers, this kind of thing for crafts. I'm about to unload a huge box of stuff that I just saw in the corner of my eye, and I was like, why is this in here when it shouldn't be? Yeah, here we go, more crafts. I think I have too many crafts to put. I do. But anyway, so here's a picture of what is in the teal box, and I think that's enough. I'm concerned at this point that it's too much. I'm going to go ahead and set it over here on top of the other teal box. The wonderful thing that is happening as I am filling up these, what I'm going to call decorative bins, is that the closet is starting to open up so that I will have space for other things, which you know, if you have a storage closet for your crafts and it's crammed full like mine is, I mean, honest to goodness, I don't even know what to make of this. I'm running across this kind of stuff, you know, instructions for my printer. I don't need this. It might sound stupid to throw it away, but by the time I need this, I'll be needing a new printer. So I don't normally throw stuff away, but I'm kind of at my wit's end. And then, my friends, I found these hooks that will hold 5 pounds. And I need these so bad in this room. I forgot to mention this. This was a project that I did a few years ago, and I didn't like the way it ended up. She was on a dowel, or not a dowel, I think this was a chopstick or something, like this, and this was inserted like this, and she was always wobbling around. So, as you saw, I cut that out, and I think I'm just going to glue her to this. Let the glue set, and then she'll just be on the pin cushion like so, and more of a decorative piece rather than, I mean, you know, you could take pins, I guess, and if you pinned the skirt down, she would stay. Oh, okay. Rather than gluing it. But she lived on a shelf over behind my head, and I didn't really have a lot of pins in this one. I just kind of put it up there to be decorative. I kind of like it without the dowel, and I definitely like it just kind of pinned down. That's kind of cute. I like it. I'm going to leave her just like that, put her back on the shelf. So now I have these 3 to deal with. Okay. Alright guys, I have managed to get the studio sort of cleaned up. I mean, it is a huge improvement. And I can just turn this off and we are good to go. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching these videos. I hope they're helpful. I hope you enjoy them. I also hope that you're enjoying summer wherever you might live, and maybe it's warm and sunny and pretty and you're on vacation. That's what I hope. But I will see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.